girls wear white socks and the boys wear black socks. All of our children, not just our girls, but our goal is to draw attention to our countenance, to our face, and that helps us to decide what things we wear and what things are modest and appropriate.
Hey you guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Monday, December 13th. We are back again. Did you guys get any rest over the weekend? I got a little bit of rest, but not a ton. Obviously last week was very busy. So much going on in Duggartown, and obviously that has not changed. Still so much going on in Duggartown, still so much to dissect and talk about, but we're back to regularly scheduled uploads. So we'll get back to some of those live streams, but obviously we're going to do the shorter videos that so many of you are here for, used to, and love. Want to say humongous shout out for and thank yous to all of you that have recently subscribed. I just hit 200,000 subscribers over the weekend, and I want to say thank you to everyone that's new, old, and have been here since the beginning. Thank y'all for your support, and if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you do. So we have a statement that just came out by Joanna and Austin. And I had been telling you guys last week and the week before when the trial was going on that Austin and Joy's reason for being there was maybe a little bit different than some of the other siblings that were there. There has been a divide that has happened within the family, and right now actually things have changed quite a bit since the verdict and the trial being over. But Joy and Austin's motive for going there was not because they wanted to support Josh and Anna. Instead, they were on the mission to seek the truth. I told you about how a source had let me know that Austin found out about everything with Josh, not from Jim Bob, but instead from a friend. When he learned about what Josh had gotten into through the friend, it was then he started searching for his own answers about what was happening. Jim Bob, prior to the trial, had been very cagey with the kids about what was going on, and now he can no longer deny the facts that have been laid out in court about what Josh Duggar has done. It's very clear that most of the siblings do believe that Josh Duggar is guilty, and Joy and Austin were there for every day of the trial. Well, I think Joy missed like maybe the first day, but she was there daily with her husband to get the truth. Joy's name, although not directly brought up in court, was a part of this case because Bobby Holt actually testified about what Josh Duggar had done to Joy when she was like 5 years old. So Joy had a lot to sift through. Joy had a lot to digest. And Joy had some decisions to make, and of the sisters, she took the longest to respond. So we are going to break down what her statement is, which I find to be extremely telling, and also just sort of dissect what this is going to mean for Joy moving forward as a Duggar. So if you know anything about the Duggars, if you don't agree with Jim Bob Duggar, technically you are out of the world, and you can be stripped of any sort of the benefits that you get, the money, the whatever he can hold over your head kind of thing, allegedly. And when you don't go with what he says, you are defying his authority. And he really adheres to the Gothardism of the patriarch having the top authority. So for Joy, her decision to make a statement like this is actually in direct defiance of what her father would appreciate or want her to say, but it doesn't matter because Joy has clearly made the choice to go out on her own. So this is what she had to say. Over this last year, you can imagine, there have been a lot of unanswered questions in our minds regarding Josh. We were able to sit through the trial to hear the evidence for ourselves. We agree with the judicial system's verdict, and we are thankful for the men and women who work tirelessly to protect children and help prevent CSAM. Our heart breaks for all CSAM. We are praying for Anna and her children. So Josh, the trial revealed the depths and the depravity of what Josh Duggar was into, and now that he is convicted, we no longer have to call it alleged. He has been convicted. So what I want to point out here is that she, one, says we had a lot of questions about Josh, and she, two, made a point to say were able to sit through the trial to hear the evidence for ourselves. This to me is almost a kind of a dig at her dad because, you know, we got the news ourselves. We heard it ourselves. We aren't hearing it from a third party. We're not hearing it digested by our dad in a watered down version or whatever tale he has for us today. We are sitting there listening to the evidence as it's presented in court. Another thing I thought was interesting is that they said, we agree with the judicial system's verdict and are thankful for the men and women who work tirelessly to protect children. Being that Joy was not protected as a child and her family was not there to sort of swoop her up and take care of her, instead they focused so much of their time and energy on Josh, she likely feels in a way vindicated, I believe, in this verdict. And so she is saying, I agree, and in a way saying, I agree with people that protect kids. So even though she's not necessarily directly calling out her dad, in a way she is, because she's saying, I went there to get the truth myself, not from anyone else, and I completely stand with people that protect children. And then finally, when she says that she is praying, it's not for Josh, like some of her other siblings have said. A lot of the other siblings have referred to it as Joshua's family and Joshua's kids. Instead, Austin and Joy went with, we are praying for Anna and her kids. This reminds me a lot of Jeremy and Ginger's statement, where basically they said that they were feared for Josh's soul, and in many ways said that Josh was not really like anything to them anymore. And in the same respect, it reminds me a lot of what Jill said, where she said it was like a funeral to her. For these three girls, I believe this trial and this verdict is almost like to them a symbolic moment where they can say, Josh is no longer alive to me. I have no connection to Josh. Josh is not in my life. I am moving on. He doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. It's a funeral for Jill. She says Anna and her kids, and then she also says, and then Ginger says that they're fearful for Josh's soul. And Ginger and Jeremy took it a step further and said that they wanted justice for other things coming up. Here's kind of where Joy and Austin are, I was told by some people. So right up before all of this went down, Joy and Austin were obviously in a very uncomfortable place because they knew that there was a potential that things about her past, Joy's, could come up in court. And right before Thanksgiving, I was told that Austin and Anna had gotten to an argument. And the argument was something to do with Josh and Anna protecting Josh. You see, prior to the trial, a lot of the siblings, I'm told, had separated from Josh and are really at this place where they really did believe in his guilt. Most of them, too afraid to say anything publicly, did not believe anything that was being sold to them by their father or by Josh about what happened. There was just too much evidence. That's what I was told by my source. So throughout this time, Anna has been standing sort of in defiance of all of his siblings and basically like, I defend Josh. I believe he's innocent. You guys are all wrong. I can't believe you got this so wrong. It's all your fault. And the kids are like, Anna, please wake up. Please do better. Please get out, kind of thing. Like, stop protecting him. It's not helping him. It's not helping you. It's not helping your kids. In the middle of all of that, Anna kind of dumped the kids off on them. And so I think that created another level of frustration. So right now, when it comes to if you expect to see, some sort of like wonderful relationship between Joy and Anna and Austin, it's unlikely to happen. In fact, I'm going to say I will expect more of a distancing to happen because Austin is at this place now. I was told by a source where he 100% believes in Josh's guilt, 100% is uninterested in staying on this track and like under the thumb of individuals that will deceive him or lie to him. And he does not need Jim Bob or his money, period. So for Joy and Austin, this is going to look quite a bit different than some of the other siblings who have not directly defied the parents because Ginger has already been kicked out. Ginger and Jill are already shunned. Joy has not been shunned yet. This could lead to a shunning of Joy. Jim Bob might be out a lot of children with this verdict, and his control over the kids could very well be waning. I'm pleased to see Joy taking a step of independence for herself. They have a long way to go. There's so much that's happened in the last 20 years. And I will say this, that the kids grew up in a world where they were not allowed to have feelings. They were not allowed to have emotions. They had to always be happy. The teachings through the IBLP have taught them to always smile no matter what the situation, and to always like be joyful. And that's not how you live life. You have to feel, you have to have emotions, you have to be able to process your emotions. And so I expect processing of emotions, because Joy was very emotional during the trial. And again, not something you typically see with these kids. They're very stoic. Conversely, Anna was like a steel trap, like completely numb, no emotions, nothing, no reaction. Joy's crying, Anna's stoic. It's very different in terms of where they're at. Anna's locked in and locked up. Joy is starting to become free. So Joy is going to probably be joining the club of the shunned daughters, and maybe that's okay. She's got a husband and she's got a life, and she seems to have a family that she's very, very, very happy to be a part of. And she is close with Austin's family. So I would expect some distancing to come up with Joy and Austin from the rest of the family. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Forsyths as a whole start to distance themselves from Jim Bob and Michelle, and other in-laws to also take that step. We're going to get on to other things that have come up in our next videos. But for now, Joyanna has made her statements made. I don't support Josh. I'm glad he's behind bars. Anna, have fun with your kids. Goodbye. What are your thoughts about this? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.